Here's an introduction to one of the ways that I get more done every day. I'm Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations. You'll see these index cards everywhere I go. They're actually part of a storyboard system that is based in Kanban. Now, Kanban is a method for moving tasks down a workflow. So the simplest workflow is to do, doing, and done. What things are there to do, what things are you actually doing, and what things have you accomplished. Well, I use these cards to write down the objective and then a story about a user story about what success looks like. And it's a very unique system. Actually, it's not. Nothing I do is unique. And most everything I do, I've seen, this is actually from manufacturing. Sue me. I didn't come up with something new and adventurous. You can turn the video off now. Nothing to learn here. There's no new magic. No, basically, it's actually a very effective system that works with projects of thousands of units or even just a few things that you need to get done each day. What's the key to it is that there's only one thing to do on this card. Now, it's the high-level task. It's not the detailed tasks like you might track in Asana or you might track in an Outlook list. One of the problems with those systems is you end up with thousands of tasks and no organization. So you got to organize the tasks into outcomes or activities, and then those activities into milestones or deliverables, and then those deliverables inside of a project. But that's kind of difficult. You don't have all that to think about when you're simply, just kind of capturing an idea so that you can get anything accomplished. But this one right here is I'm just randomly grabbed a card. My tracking is not working on the gimbal, but we'll survive. We will make it today. You and I will be successful. Okay, so this one says what's the category? So it's PHM, which is Prosperity Homestead. It doesn't mean anything to you, but it could be a family task or a household task, or it could be related to the project. We also have what? Oh, God, no. Okay, there we go. Okay, we're back. We have the outcome. See, now, it's more important the outcomes that you do than the objectives. It doesn't matter if I have to do tasks. I have an outcome, and the outcome is plant banana trees on food forest heated microclimate with yucca above hill. That doesn't mean anything to you, right? But I'm describing the outcome desired. I want banana trees on this hill that actually is a microclimate because it's raised up above the driveway and it gets the heat off the driveway. And I think bananas are going to go really good over there. And I want to have a yucca there as well. And I know yucca grows there because it's got, it's been growing there before. And I dug those trees up before we did the excavation. See, all that doesn't have to be on the card. It's just the outcome. The outcome is banana trees on the food forest side. And it's not even really a food forest, but that's how I recognize it. So it's on the food forest side. It's going to have yuccas above it. I don't need to write down that they have to be dwarf bananas because regular bananas don't grow in the Mid-Atlantic area. None of that matters. But I do have a user story to help me describe the success criteria. So that's the outcome. What's the success criteria? Now, user story is going to be have who, what, when, where, why type of thing. It's used in Scrum. It's used in software development. It's also been used for hundreds of years in other ways because if you got to convey what it is we want, if someone says, "What do you mean by banana trees?" Well, I put it in quotes because this is a story. Rows describing the success criteria. Rows of large banana trees with other exotic plants, sweet potato, ground cover, and turmeric, to top of the hill in basin, an overall tropical look to benefit from heat. Grow out the rest in cereal grains like amaranth. Well, there you go. Now, I could have made a list that says plant banana trees. Step, the old making the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Get the bread. Put the peanut butter on one side. Put the jelly on the other side. Put the bread together. No, I like to get a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. See, if we're working with the outcomes, it's a different approach, and it's easier to convey because I don't have to do all this work. So ultimately, rows of large banana trees. Well, where would those rows go? Well, they go on the hill in the heat area. Now, the characteristics of the banana tree will tell me whether it goes on the back of the hill in a channel or it goes on the edge of the hill, on the edge of a terrace. Now, I'm seeing this in my head. You don't know what I'm talking about. But the key is this gets you started. I got the whole project down, or the whole activity down on one card, just done. Now, I don't have to do this card right now. It can go in the to-do list because it's not the right season to plant banana trees. Okay, it's still a little cold outside. But we don't have to go over the whole entire goddamn project plan just to get started. Our outcome desired is a row of banana trees and yuccas. Now, I already have the yuccas. I can get the banana trees quickly. I already have the amaranth seed. I can grab this card and start working right away. Okay, do you see what I'm talking about here? Now, again, it's going to go on a process. Now, if you have an editorial process, if I was going to write an article about planting banana trees, I might have a longer Kanban. I might have the idea, the draft, the review, the final, approval, the publishing, the promoting. I might have a different set of steps to get there. But again, you can do to do, doing, and done. Let me give you another example. I found a stack of cards. This is the From My Desk program where I literally just grab something off the desk and then convey it to you guys in a usable format. Okay, here we go. I mentioned editorial process. This card right here is from JCO, which is my main company. JWH draft post to ISR SWS finished, published, and promote. Means nothing to you, but it got something out of my head and onto paper so that I don't have to churn about it. Have you ever been in a situation where you know you've got to get something done and you simply churn about it, and then something more important comes up, and then you come back and you're like, oh, I'm not sure, what was I going to do again? Boom, caught it on a card. Now we're going to talk about this. I'm going to read you the storyboard, or the user story. One news article each week with drip email and 3 social media posts that drive to landing page as a blog post. We'll have opt-in form on the right side column for email newsletter. Post each article after article, readability, SEO, and setup promotion. I never said this is going to be easy, but the user story describes all the success criteria. When the article is published, has it been reviewed for readability? Like it's a great idea, it's a great article, but nobody understands it except for me. Well, readability analysis. Does it fit our needs for SEO? When someone lands on the article, does it do anything? Does it have an opportunity to generate a lead or start a sale? All that's built in here. Now, what we do on the back is we start writing our progress. Now, there's no fancy apps needed, guys. These apps are distractions. If you had an app, you'd have write article, you'd have social media posts, you have blog posts, you'd have this process around doing nothing. There's no there's nothing specific about it. But I know now that I want JWH draft posts. So I come in here and I look on the back of the card, and February 19th in 2020, I did a little bit of work here, and I realized that JWH has 758 draft posts. Okay? That's a lot of draft posts. I don't know what my computer's doing in the background here. It's distracting me. That's a lot of draft posts. So 758 draft posts. Most are articles going to ASK, ISR, and CEP. So when I say these little acronyms, it's a short form to track Ask Newsletter, which is here, askjustinhit.com, Inside Strategic Relations and Commercial Electro Profits. Sort with tips when good for 2 sites, then customize for each. See, that's an important point there. If I find an article that is relevant to my audience, and I have a mass audience, and we can talk about this when we talk about content marketing, but I have a overall audience, and then I have segments in that audience that I serve. So high income professionals interested in copywriting would be ad briefings. But copywriting is also valuable to commercial electrical contractors. So I might take the same article and recycle it, and now I got twice as much work done in one effort. And then it goes on a little bit about the action I took on the back of the card set aside. Now, I use a variety of ways to track these cards. I like to use visual boards because I get distracted pretty easily, as you can see. But I got it out of my head. Some of these things may never happen, by the way. Get an FCC technician's license to use high channels. I have some radio equipment that I use when I'm out working in the yard, and they have high channels that I need an FCC license to use. And I think it'd be cool to use it because when we go camping or we go hiking, or if I want to listen to the races, the technician's license will give me a better understanding how the radio systems work. Maybe we'll never do it, okay? But I got it out of my head. I don't need to think about it every day. See, the big problem with people when we talk about getting things done is that they're constantly thinking about, I'd like to write some articles. I've got some ideas about articles, and they're all up in my head, and ours never happen. It never happens. But if you simply write down the ideal on an index card or use a work journal of some kind, you can actually just go do it and get the outcomes that you're looking for. So let me summarize. We're using a Kanban system, which is kind of a bucketing system where we have a simple process. I use this in a variety of ways. I use it when I do my risk consulting, where we have a business develops a process. The business develops a risk matrix. The business then comes in, and I'm telling it like a user story. Who does the work? The business. What do? They develop a process. What happens to the process? Well, the process is then reviewed for risks. Who reviews for risk? See, we just go right down the cycle. Eventually, it comes to my group that does a governance and oversight or a credible challenge type work. And then ultimately it goes through, it's like 6 steps. Now, you don't have to have 600 steps. You need the 5 to 10 high-level steps where your milestones are, your toll gates are. And that's essentially a Kanban, and you can start simply with to do, doing, and done. Okay? Now, each of those steps have a process, and your to-do things is capture at the end of each day all of the work or the outcomes that you desire. Now, if I wrote on a card to have $2.3 million in liquid cash and to sleep on the, go to foreign lands and spend time on the beach and get more sleep, that's kind of too broad. I'd have to narrow that down into chunks, individual chunks. With specific outcomes. So I might say, well, how much sleep? Okay, I'd like to get 9 hours of sleep a night. Okay, where would you like to sleep? I would like to sleep in a comfortable bed, traveling around the world. Traveling around the world does not connect with specifically the sleep element because you can stay at home and sleep. So I would have the travel around the world as a separate card. Essentially, if you give yourself a fixed amount of time, maybe 45 minutes at the end of each day, just to clean up your desk, which obviously I don't do, but I do write down what types of outcomes are expected. What does my client expect me to produce in the next week? Do I owe any reports, any types of feedback? Do I have documents to review? I will gather the materials up. Each of these cards represents physical elements in the real world, and then I would put the card in the relevant slot. Now, sometimes these have due dates, and so you would want to slot it according to due dates, and we can talk about how that works. We actually have a pretty detailed program called Getting More Done, and it's about the many different ways to approach outcome management rather than just doing stuff. Because really, I could take the one about the banana trees, and I could say to my assistant, hey, look, I like some banana trees up on the hill. And I could basically have them order the banana trees and deliver them and then have a laborer dig the holes. I don't have to do all the work. And ultimately, a lot of what you have on your plate every day doesn't need to be done by you. As a high-income professional or entrepreneur, how do you convey that to the person who's doing the work? Well, that's the user story. What does success look like? What's the narrative of the outcome that you desire? Now, you don't have to tell most people how to do stuff, especially if you hire experts in their field and you invest once in someone who knows what the hell they're doing, then stumble in the dark and try to figure it out. And again, that's why we track a little bit about where we're coming from. So I want to take draft articles and turn them into something. How many draft articles? I don't need to know that up front, but I can get that information and add it to the story. And we start developing out requirements and descriptives of what elements are there. So when I say readability means I will have an article that's readable at a 6th grade reading level and ultimately shares a specific set of information so that someone is interested in getting more information and thereby becoming a lead on the website. It's a very it's a very basic concept when you understand it, but has some more powerful elements such as anchoring. Like these little concepts will have anchors. So I would like banana trees. What banana trees? Banana tree is an anchor for the types of banana trees that grow in this particular climate. I want them in a row. Well, is the row where does the row go? Well, a row signifies you want them in a straight line, and that narrows down the possible locations by a location that can have straight lines. If the yucca is up the hill, then the bananas must be down the hill. So it's a way to help your brain smooth out some of that desire and focus more on the outcomes to create. Now, once it's on paper, what's great about it is you can stack a bunch of these babies up and set them aside and sort them out into piles and stuff, where a lot of the electronic systems, you can do those things, you can do keyword searches and stuff, but what I've discovered is you don't need to know dig hole, insert banana tree. Like, that's a given. That's just how it works. But ultimately, the online systems tend to end up with all that junk. So I actually have an assistant that goes through Asana and extracts concepts, and I say, okay, well, these 15 things need to be done to this website. What is that? Well, it's annual maintenance to the website. What's the procedural for doing the annual maintenance? Because if it's needed on one site and you own many sites, you might need it on the other sites. We can talk about these concepts specifically in coaching, because I have tailored this to how high-income people's brains work, how your demands of the day function, how sometimes you just need to capture the key concept, the outcome you desire, and then a description of that outcome, and then you can just hand it to somebody who can build it out to a project or a program. Many of my clients are managing hundreds of people. They run their own companies with 5 to 10 people and millions of dollars in sales. And sometimes you just need to find a way to track the high-level elements. Example could be replace roof on primary residence with a roof that's compatible with rainwater capture. You know, that's the outcome desired. But that same outcome could be written rainwater capture. And then you start clustering these ideas up, and finally you have a project plan. And then from the project plan, which is a list of outcomes you desire, you can then start thinking about what resources you have to scope the process to move things forward. It doesn't have to be a complex topic. But if you do have questions, you can visit me at www.askjustinhit.com. That's where we're publishing a lot of these From My Desk programs. This is a program where I literally go through my desk as I'm cleaning it up each morning and each afternoon. And I put together a short video, which we hope to get into a publishing cycle so that you can get hold of these things. And I seek something practical. You can today, for a stack of index cards, now, uniform index card size that you can sort in a box or an engineering notebook. You don't need scraps of paper. I've done that and it sucks. But the larger point is you should be able to do something with what we have today. There's no need for 5 more YouTube videos. If you were looking for how to get more out of your day, I just gave it to you. Go ahead and use it. And I'm Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations, where we talk about critical thinking and outcome management for high-income professionals and entrepreneurs. I have a number of other publications and resources, but you can come ask more questions at AskJustinHitt.com. That's www.AskJustinHitt.com. I'm Justin Hitt. I'm here to help you create and keep profitable customers and transform business relationships into profits guaranteed. Thanks for watching.